Hollywood loves to talk about equality, diversity, and breaking barriers. But behind closed doors, the rules are still the same. Youth sells, and age is a disadvantage. This is something Fernanda Torres knows all too well. Imagine being in the industry for decades, proving yourself time and time again, and then being told, you're too old for this role. That's exactly what happened to Fernanda when she went up for her latest movie, I'm Still Here. At first, the producers didn't even consider her. The character was younger in the earlier parts of the movie, and Hollywood, being Hollywood, believed they needed someone who looked the part. But here's where things took an interesting turn. Think about that. She wasn't even on their radar because of her age. It didn't matter that she had decades of acting experience, that she had won international awards, or that she was one of Brazil's most respected actresses. And yet, one conversation changed everything. The film's director, known as V, had worked with Fernanda 30 years ago. When they first discussed the film, Fernanda wasn't the first choice. But something clicked. The director started remembering the kind of depth and power only Fernanda could bring to this role. That was another major factor. Her mother was already cast in the movie. It suddenly made perfect sense for Fernanda to be a part of it too. And yet, even with that connection, it wasn't an easy decision for the filmmakers. Because here's the harsh reality. Even for someone as accomplished as Fernanda, Hollywood still hesitates when casting older actresses. This is something we've seen time and time again. Just look at how actresses over 40 struggle to get meaningful roles, while male actors continue leading blockbusters well into their 60s. So how did Fernanda break through this system? The answer lies in her past, her talent, and the deeper message of the film. Let's go back 30 years. Fernanda and V had worked together on a film that became a huge success. It was one of the most important films of its time, and it helped define both of their careers. That bond, that history, is what made the director rethink everything. That's what changed the game. Hollywood often forgets loyalty, talent, and history, but sometimes the right people remember. But here's what's really interesting. This wasn't just about Fernanda getting a role. This movie, I'm Still Here, wasn't just another film. It was a deeply political, emotional, and cultural statement. And somehow, despite today's divided world, the film resonated with everyone, left wing, right wing, and even those in the center. Now pause for a moment and think about that. A political movie that made people from opposite sides actually empathize with the same characters? That's rare. That's powerful. And a big part of it was Fernanda's performance. She wasn't just acting, she was living the role. For decades, she had seen the struggles of women in the industry. She had been typecast, doubted, and underestimated. And now, in her later years, she was finally getting a role that truly spoke to her experiences. This was more than a movie. This was a statement, and audiences felt it. The moment people saw, I'm Still Here, something changed. It wasn't just another film. It became a cultural moment. But here's the real question. Would Hollywood have given Fernanda this role if she hadn't fought for it? Because let's be honest, if things had gone the usual way, this role would have gone to someone younger. Someone with less experience, but more box office appeal. So how did Fernanda prove them wrong? That's what we'll dive into in the next part, because this isn't just a story about one actress getting one role. It's about shattering the industry's standards and proving that talent will always win over age bias. Stay tuned, because in the next part, we explore how Fernanda's fight against Hollywood's unfair rules led to one of the most powerful performances of her career. Hollywood almost made that mistake. They almost passed on Fernanda Torres. But what made them change their minds? How did she prove them wrong? It all comes down to one thing: undeniable talent. Once the director realized what Fernanda could bring to the role, everything shifted. The production team started rewatching her old performances, looking at the depth and intensity she brought to every character. And suddenly, the idea of casting someone younger didn't make sense anymore. That was the moment Fernanda got her chance. But the real challenge was just beginning, because even after getting the role, she knew she had to prove to the audience, to the industry, and even to herself that she belonged there. The moment she stepped on set, it was clear. This was no ordinary role. Her character wasn't just a woman trying to survive in a changing world. She was a reflection of so many real women who had been overlooked, underestimated, and pushed aside. Fernanda knew that if she was going to break the cycle of age bias, she had to deliver a performance that would be impossible to ignore. And that's exactly what happened. She turned a controversial casting decision into one of the biggest strengths of the film. Critics who initially questioned her casting were now calling her performance one of the best of her career. And here's where things get really interesting. Once the movie premiered, something unexpected happened. At first, many people doubted Fernanda's ability to carry such a heavy role. But when the reviews started coming in, it was undeniable. She had stolen the show. Hollywood loves to talk about new talent and fresh faces. But when a seasoned actress delivers a performance that outshines everyone else, it forces the industry to pay attention. And that's exactly what happened. Suddenly, interviews were calling Fernanda's role a career-defining performance. Awards buzz started building. The same people who once doubted her were now calling her the best part of the movie. But here's the bigger question. Would this change anything? Would Hollywood finally start casting older actresses in major roles? Or was this just another temporary victory before things went back to the same old routine? This isn't just Fernanda's story. It's the story of countless actresses who have faced the same struggle. We've seen this before. Meryl Streep spoke about how she was only being offered which roles after turning 40. Maggie Gyllenhaal was told she was too old to play the love interest of a 55-year-old actor when she was just 37. Reese Witherspoon had to start her own production company just to get meaningful roles after 40. So the real question is, will Hollywood finally learn? Will they stop treating age as a weakness and start valuing experience, depth, and talent? If Fernanda Torres proved one thing with I'm Still Here, it's that a great performance has no age limit. Her acting wasn't just good, it was powerful. She didn't just play a role, she became the character. People watching her could feel every emotion, every struggle. That's what great acting is all about. It doesn't matter how old you are, what matters is how well you bring a story to life. But will Hollywood finally understand this? This isn't the first time an actress has proven that age doesn't take away talent. Glenn Close, Viola Davis, Frances McDormand, they have all delivered amazing performances later in their careers. But even after so many examples, Hollywood still acts like only young actresses can lead big movies. And that's the problem. Fernanda's story is inspiring, but it also shows an unfair truth. Even the most talented women in Hollywood still have to fight for what they deserve. She shouldn't have had to prove herself. She shouldn't have had to convince anyone that she was perfect for this role. Her talent should have been enough. But the industry still believes that younger faces sell more tickets. They think that after a certain age, actresses are no longer right for big roles. But is that really true? Audiences don't care about age. They care about great stories. Movies with older actresses have been huge successes. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once with Michelle Yeoh, Nomadland with Frances McDormand, The Wife with Glenn Close, Olive. These movies prove that experience makes a story even better. People love these performances because they feel real. So why does Hollywood still act like older actresses don't belong? Maybe, just maybe, this is the moment anything. It's that talent doesn't disappear with age. It grows. And one day, Hollywood will have to wake up and see that. Now, we want to hear from you. Do you think Hollywood will change after this? Or is this just another temporary win? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more stories about the real struggles behind the industry, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because trust us, there's a lot more they come. Don't want you to know.